Welcome back, everyone.
It's episode 30.
Woo!
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Gloria.
And we're Chemist Confessions. This podcast is just a human conversation on all the skincare science. And today we do have a pretty cool topic.
It's all about eye creams and eye area concerns.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult topic, and to be honest, I think we've shelved this for a really long time.
Yeah.
I actually don't think we've ever really even dedicated a blog post to it.
Yeah, we've talked about it on Instagram. The reason why it's so difficult is just because the data is pretty sparse. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get into it. We're going to share if there's any data at all on whether or not we should be using eye creams. But first, what are we drinking today, Gloria?
All right.
She made the cocktail.
Today is a much better version of the trash teeny that we already made a big headway on while we're setting up. It is tequila that we got from Mexico, and a splash of OJ and a splash of Italian soda.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad.
Yes.
It's a little dangerous.
It's heavy-handed and goes down very easy.
It's Friday afternoon, so we're going to relax a little bit.
Y'all in for a fun episode.
But before we get into all the good stuff, we definitely have an actual brand update for you today.
Thank goodness. So we've been previewing everyone, Mr. Reliable Gen 2 for a long time.
Joke's on you.
We're throwing you a curveball, baby. In honor of the World Series, we have double play.
I promise you that's not intended in timing at all.
Yes, well, actually, it's been delayed over and over again, so timing is definitely not intentional.
Give us the spiel, Gloria. How long have we been working on this?
The year was 2018, I think, 19. When we started, I think it was 2018.
Yeah, end of 2018, we had the idea.
I was but a wee child. So the idea is we get asked a lot what works for eye area concern. And yes, this totally ties into the theme of this episode and part of the reason why we're doing it. A lot of people reach out to us on Chemist Confessions and ask, I have these crow's feet or dark circles. What really works? And it really grinds our gears that we really have to tell them a lot of times that's eye cream's not necessarily the answer.
Yeah.
And a lot of eye creams to us weren't worth the price tag at all.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we felt like eye cream was just a format. And it was a format that was easily upcharged for a very little amount. And we agree with a lot of actually our followers in the community in that at the end of the day, can't an anti-aging cream be an eye cream? So we're like, this makes so much sense to create a 2-in-1. Yeah. So what is our 2-in-1, Gloria?
So our double play 2-in-1 features 0.3% retinol. It's encapsulated, but the active level is 0.3. Yeah. And 2% dermapeptide blend haloxyl, which specifically targets eye area concerns.
Specifically dark circles, which is something that we are heavily invested in because of how much we have dabbled in that realm in terms of research and just haven't really found anything very satisfying. And I would say that when we first started, we were like 2-in-1, epic. But the amount of testing that we had to do a 2-in-1, it was a very, very long journey.
All right, Grandpa, strap in. So when we started, we decided that we definitely want to have some sort of retinol, and we talked about retinol blend. We actually had an old version that combined retinol with bakuchiol. And me, being retinol sensitive, I was in charge of testing these blends because the idea is you want a level that's effective enough to tackle those crow's feet and wrinkles and for both eye and face area. But at the same time, we wanted to be gentle enough for the eye area. So a lower level definitely made sense. So we thought, okay, we can bolster the strength of retinol with a retinol alternative to kind of give you that efficacy without irritation. Joke's on me, bakuchiol was very irritating to me.
Yeah, and for me being more retinol tolerant, didn't have the same effects, but I'm heavily invested in the results because eye area concerns are definitely my pet peeve. And so, I think we were really shocked by the fact that the combo could be more irritating.
Yeah, we did. I believe we did a series of cell culture test with different combos. So like 0.15 retinol plus 0.15 bakuchiol, 0.25, 0.25, or 0.3 retinol alone, this and that. And from that test, the retinol combo, the retinol alone is actually fine.
Yeah.
And the bakuchiol,
even at higher percentages.
Yeah, the bakuchiol didn't make that combination more gentle in our formula. So we decided that, hey, retinol's tried and true. 0.3 is very powerful. We'll walk through all the data around retinol in the eye area later. But it's still a relatively lower levels, let's say, for the eye area. That was part one of what we did. And then...
we also ran into formulation issues. We wanted to pump it with soothers. We actually even have niacinamide in there as well to just make sure the skin barrier stays really happy while using retinol, especially around the eye area being a thinner part of skin for on face. So that was... I think we had a formulation challenge. We also had a texture challenge because at the end of the day, you want it for face, but you want it for eye. What does that mean?
Yeah, it has to be nourishing enough, but not too nourishing that you don't want to spread across the whole face.
Exactly.
And I think for us, the niacinamide percentage, we also make sure that we capped it at 2%. So for all you guys that might already have a serum that you like or a cream, there's a lesser chance of you getting irritated by overloading niacinamide.
Yeah.
There was a lot that went into it.
Yeah. We also did a hatchery, which for those of you who participated in that one very, very long ago.
Thank you. That was a 2019.
This is the result.
Yeah, so you remember once, it's like pre-COVID, you got a little package from us. Well, it's finally out the...
The tequila kicked in too quickly.
So this is the result.
Yes.
And the journey didn't end here. So we got the formula to a place where we're
airless pump. Excuse my dog.
We got to a point where we're pretty happy with formulation. Then we had to validate that it was safe for both eye and face. So we did clinical
and got the approval, safe for eye and face. And we also decided to have a derm be involved in that study, especially because it involved irritation. We felt that that was an important claim. Sometimes that claim is questioned, but in this scenario with safety, we felt like it was a very important component. So got the approval on that.
And that's not all. We are actually doing additional testing. And the safety test, in addition to it being very well tolerated and approved for eye area use, we got a lot of great feedback. So we went ahead and we are also doing a full-scale clinical on this, which the results will come out by Christmas. Anyway, this has been a really long journey that spanned over way longer than we thought.
With COVID, supply chain has been really slow. And honestly, it's both good and bad. You know, we've really had the time to just make sure this comes out the way we want it. I'm honestly so proud that we can finally share this with everyone and that it's real. And just can't wait for, everyone to try it and get everyone's feedback. But finally, to say that your face cream works for your eye cream, yes.
Yes. So, one more funny story. So, we talked about how packaging is very important for retinol. We wound up choosing to go with the airless pump tube.
Boom.
Yeah. And it has a small nozzle. It's airless in design, so it'll keep your retinol fresh for a really long time.
Entire shelf life.
Yep.
Yes.
And very unfortunately for Gloria, who forgot about it, we have one precious sample from all the raw material shortage to take pictures and to talk about before the real production batch comes. I've been using this, and this dip makes it really hard to take pictures. Just a little trolley size story of this really long journey.
Yep. So anyways, you'll definitely hear more about it as we get closer to the launch, which will be in a couple weeks. But otherwise, that's some pretty big brand news.
We finally have a launch, guys. Oh my god. I feel like last time we had any launch is when our cleanser was out of stock for 3 months.
That was our launch of pandemic. Yeah. So we're very proud. And to finish off, we're going to finish off with some nice words.
Yeah, since the brand update was a little juicy this time, we're going to just stick to one nice word today.
One good one.
One good one.
Hit us, Gloria.
We got this in an email. She said that I've been listening to your podcast and reading your book and blog post. I find your content super helpful, and I love the format of your podcast. Thank you. It's definitely very whimsical and it's very random.
Drink involved.
Yep. I'm also an engineer in product development, but just not the chemical kind. I did it to totally get out of taking orgo in college. I feel you on that one. Victoria and I just had a funny discussion about how back in the day when you take orgo and edit test, you just see a bunch of like people at higher level education doing dumb things like L-R. Those of you who take orgo understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, she thanked us because what we do is relatively new for her. And yeah, just really, really glad that our content resonates with people.
That sums up pretty much the reason why we do this stuff.
Yeah, Victoria and I actually regularly go on, we get invited to people's college clubs to talk about our career trajectory.
Shout out to Pace University. They invited us to speak a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. We joked, but it felt more like therapy hour for us because we got to talk about our career path and journey.
Yeah. The two of us were like, oh my God, back in my day in college. and the children on the other side of the screen were like, okay.
The goal was to, help pave the way and show them a way into if they're interested in getting into the cosmetic industry. I think we kind of worried that it might have deterred them from our crazy story, but all in all, it was super nice.
I was in there like, I didn't get a job in the field I wanted to. It really sucked. But then I started formulating lipsticks, and it all worked out. It was very, very...
Well, I felt like Gloria exaggerates because she was like, it was either watching paint dry or this. Yeah. I think it's just a no-brainer.
Yep, but...
So, yeah.
We always enjoy talking.
Just talking?
Yes. The end, seeing. But yes, it makes us happy that I think we are somewhat helpful for people who are, looking to start their career. Yeah. So, yeah.
And we always tell people, please reach out if you're ever interested in pursuing a career in this industry.
We'll tell you what not to do.
Yes, please. Learn from our mistakes. Otherwise, let's get into it. It's time for In the News.
In the news, going to try to keep this brief.
Let's do it.
So as chemists working in the industry, we constantly get newsletters about new vendors and new trends in packaging. We got this one from a packaging supplier, but what I thought was really interesting and worth sharing is that they were talking about a new age tube that has a focus on sustainability. And they talked about it in the concept of combining the 3 R's, and one being recycled content, recyclable ready, and reduce weight. So recycled content is what Victoria and I have talked about a lot, which is PCR. So you reduce the use of virgin plastic to get the most out of what we already have out there.
Yep.
Recyclable ready. There's more talks about making packaging. I feel like the 3 R's as you go on gets more and more difficult.
Yes.
So the second R is all about maybe using just one type of material, make it less complicated.
Single plastic. Because when you start blending, it makes it very difficult to recycle. But that's challenging on the formula end because sometimes with funky formulas like sunscreens, cleansers, they require a blend of plastics to make sure that the formula doesn't eat through it and seep out. So yes, I would say that does get more challenging.
And then the third one, reduce weight, is another added wrench in the equation. The concept is nice, all in all, a lighter, maybe a thinner but robust layer of plastic can reduce consumption in general. But said, as Victoria mentioned, not everything is very friendly. Not
And
every
also,
formula.
yeah, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but also to say that, people say that glass is an alternative to plastic, but that does add the weight, and you want to think about your carbon footprint for getting that package to you. So things like that.
All in all, it's a very complicated and big problem, but just know that the trend's here to stay. So we'll see a lot more implementation, a lot more developments in this area. The two of us are definitely like very into the PCR world.
Yeah.
And to us, that's the most accessible part of sustainability right now. Yeah, reduced weight is definitely, to me, I'm like, man, this sounds really shitty, but I'm skeptical that every brand out there does compatibility tests with their packaging.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I can see scenarios where they jump on this train, get a packaging, but doesn't finish the whole test, and what ends up happening is you get a leaky tube of God knows what.
Yeah, I think it's tough because in an industry that moves so quickly, obviously that's great in a way because you can see change quicker.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does come at a cost. So it's just more about like growing carefully, changing carefully. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see more to come.
Yep. And then next, we have to update everyone on celebrity brands.
Yes.
This is the trend of 2021 that the two of us really regret not starting like a bingo game or some sort of betting pool. Yeah. But yeah, that in terms of trend predicting, I think accuracy is maybe like, I don't know, it's like hit or miss 50-50. But celebrity brands, man, that trend is, Anyway.
For sure.
I pulled a list of top earning celebrity brands. Number one, I don't think anyone's very surprised by it, is Rihanna's Fenty Beauty.
Yes, agreed.
They clocked in $500 million this past year.
Big money.
Yep. Next, again, not very surprising, is Jessica Alba's Honest Company. Honest has been on the market for longer than even Fenty. And that's a really big line. It spans across beauty.
Also IPO. So makes sense.
Let's not talk about their stock price. Yes. And then we have Kylie Jenner. Oh, and then it's the Jenner Kardashian world.
Yeah.
We have Kylie at 3 and Kim at 4. You know what's funny is I feel like I vaguely heard about Kim Kardashian launching KKW Beauty, and I never heard about it ever.
And I've actually never really seen it, so maybe it's more. Is it in the makeup world?
Maybe. I don't know. I know nothing about
in our world.
Clearly, we don't keep up with the Kardashians.
We're not good about this. And we should also note that Kylie's business is separated by makeup and skin. So her makeup clocks in at 3, but her skin also ranks at number 7. So the Kardashians are doing great.
Yep. No one needs to worry about them and how COVID may be impacting their lives. They're doing fine.
Yeah. Number 5 is Cindy Crawford. This one I did not know. Her brand is called Meaningful Beauty. It is a skincare line.
Yep. And then 6, Drew Barrymore Flower Beauty. Also not familiar
with
it.
So I saw this chart that Gloria had pulled, and I just wanted to update the celebs, my knowledge of celebs that are doing beauty brands. So I just so everyone knows, and you can also update your celebrity news. Naomi Osaka just launched her sun care range following Serena. So it seems to be a great moment for athletes, female athletes doing sun care.
You're really following Serena's footsteps.
Yeah. Jennifer Aniston, she launched her hair care line Lola V. And I always remember her for Living Proof. ScarJo's plan to come out. Ariana Grande plans to come out with her body care and fragrance line. Kanye is going to do a cosmetic line. Sounds like it's makeup. It's going to be called Donda. So if you guys have listened to the latest album, that will make a lot of sense.
It's
Donda.
It's not Kanye anymore. It's Ye.
That's right. And then Cardi Beauty plans to launch her line. I think she just solidified her name as the name of the company as Barty Beauty, but not sure what that entails yet. And then also Hailey Bieber will come out with Bieber Beauty. So we still got a lot coming in. Who knows what 2022 will bring?
I don't know. I feel like celebrity brands for me, I don't think I get very upset with them. It's not like I'm looking at them and be like, oh my god, it's all like BS or whatever. But at the same time, I just feel like I don't believe a lot of them are very well thought out, and yeah, just wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I agree. I have nothing else to say. It's just a fun fact.
And also, I just find it heartwarming that I still know everyone on the list. It's
true. We're not that old.
No, but
stop old shaming me.
No, but I feel like doing a startup, you get so busy and so entwined in it, your pop culture knowledge really takes a hit.
That's true.
I still remember we were doing some like gift packing or making some boxes for like whatever. It was like during award season and the Emmys was on. And they were announcing the awards. I'm like, wow, I know 0% of the show.
I think the thing I felt really bad about was the Oscars because like there were a lot of movies. I felt like I used to be more on top of movies, but now I'm like, I didn't even know that was out. Sorry.
For me, it's also walking past a magazine stand and not recognizing anyone on the Cosmo cover.
Yeah, fair. All right, what else do we got?
I found an article that talks about clean beauty trends. I shouldn't scoff at it, but
that was a hard scoff.
This is just trends out there. This article says that when consumers are shopping, according to this article, I'm not sure according to who's doing this research, but 40.2% of consumers claim to be looking for natural ingredients, which I was a little surprised by because I thought the natural trend has passed. Like it's now people are more, I think people are more aware that it should be a blend between natural and synthetic for the best possible formulas. Meanwhile, the free from trend is theirs. It's all gas, no brakes over there. Parabens is up paraben free claim is up 3.6%. I'm not surprised. I'm more surprised that there's still people willing to die on the paraben train. We talked about this when we first started. We were like, man, paraben is like the classic case of a good ingredient getting tossed under the fear-mongering train.
That's very true.
But then we have our own product line, and unfortunately, we do not want to die on that hill. So, products free from phthalates claims have jumped 11.4%.
Is this just skincare or is this cosmetics in general?
All cosmetics.
Okay.
And then free from artificial fragrance up 8.1%. Meanwhile, reef-safe beauty searches have grown by 105% according to Nielsen IQ, which it's kind of a no-brainer thinking about it. I feel like sunscreen has been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons for the past year.
I think on top of that, with the concerns around climate change and just general sustainability awareness, it's a shoo-in for the focus.
Yep. Cruelty-free grew 27.4%. Vegan certified grew by 33.3%.
Cruelty-free is the one thing that really bugs me because very few. There's going to be 0 brands that test on animals. Yeah. Brands are so far removed from the point of testing on animals that it's kind of a meaningless claim. So I hate to say, I know people are like, yes, it's great to be aware. We love animals as well. You know, we have our own animals. But I just think that is the one claim that should not be a driving factor in shopping for skincare. Yeah,
most, like Victoria mentioned, finished goods nowadays are rarely, if ever, tested on animals. They're rarely tested at all.
Yeah. We are speaking for the U.S., though. I know that there is concerns in other countries, and that's fair. But in regards to in the United States, asking about cruelty-free is actually, I promise you, it's really not that big of a concern.
Yeah, and also with a lot of ingredients, it's grandfather in, right? Yeah. What's been tested has been tested. But we live in an industry where testing is on the scarce side. There's a lot of work across all industries that is working on how to go with models on toxicology and whatnot to minimize the use of animals. Yeah. But it's a work in progress. Yeah. You know, if you're developing a drug, you wouldn't jump straight to testing on humans. It's just not how science works.
No, I want only on newborns.
Yeah. offer my infant to science. Yeah,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's there's progress made in that field, but it's unrealistic to say we're gonna open all the cages, free all the monkeys and the rats, and ta-da, go animal cruelty free by tomorrow. That's just not how it works. Yeah. But rest assured that that's what the world is striving towards.
Yep,
so
for sure.
Nothing wrong with wanting that, but anyway, moving on.
It's a reality. All right. We don't have feels. We don't have feels about this. All right, go on.
Vegan certified. This one I think it's helpful for all of you who are vegan, looking for products that fit your value. I don't think in cosmetics there are very few ingredients that's derived in animal derived ingredients such as beeswax, lanolin,
milk based,
and
then even like collagen.
All right, and internal sustainability. I find it interesting that there's a Nielsen stat too that says there's 7.9% of the consumers seek out reusable packaging. I personally don't really believe in reusable packaging. Not that I don't think it's a good idea, but I think it goes against what most people's MO is.
Basically what Gloria is saying is that if you are someone who looks for reusable packaging, come talk to us, because we would love to learn how that works in your lifestyle and just skincare use behaviors. We have often debated, if we use reusable packaging, can't we just use the jar that it comes in, the actual replacement jar, and then you don't need the initial cover, the case that it comes in? It doesn't really feel like you're reducing your plastic footprint that much. But again, please come talk to us if you feel differently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
all right, I got one more for Gloria. Please this is more for fun.
Yes, please.
This article I discovered it will not be named, but the title is "How to Magicify Your Beauty Routine."
This is for Halloween.
Yes, it is Halloween themed. So, I'll be honest, I used to get 17 when I was in high school.
I did too.
Yeah, really enjoyed all the, if you're this personality, or if you're Sag, this is your outfit. Great. It was all fun.
I love the pages that say, shop here if you're an Aquarius. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. The magazine got me. Anyway, so this article is pretty fun. They talked about basically tips to improve your routine for different seasons, and I wanted to share this with Gloria because we actually recently wrote an article sharing our pro tips on how we would change up our routine for colder weather. So the first one involves cleaning your crystal roller. They write, this can involve immersing the roller in warm water with added plants such as rose petals for energy cleansing or basil leaves for antibacterial powers. Just be sure to hold off on the salts, as this can erode your favorite face tool.
I'm a little tired.
Yeah. So...
Oh, by the way,
all fun and dandy. Oh, yes, Gloria.
I recently found that you can buy quote-unquote holy water on Amazon.
No.
Yeah, so the story goes, this is probably the second time we talk about our fantasy football league. We had one team that did absolutely garbage one week. It was so bad. Every player sucked on that team that week.
Let's just say Gloria and I are not proud. We are scraping at the bottom of the barrel in our league.
Yeah.
It's not been fun.
Nope. So then I Googled where to buy holy water because I thought that's what the team needed. And turned out you can buy holy water on Amazon.
Also, who blessed this holy water?
Who asked you to ask questions? Someone blessed it, and you could get it for $9.99 with free shipping.
$9.99? Dude's a genius,
right? Yep.
All right. Yeah. So, really, the only call I want to say here is, please don't use your seasoning to clean your crystal roller. That's really it. Have fun.
Just like basil for my chicken, basil for my roller, just dual purpose.
Yeah. So there was that. I also wanted to, there's a couple more. Bear with me, Gloria. Strap in. All right. Cleaning any skincare or makeup tool should be part of any routine as good hygiene practice. Mm-hmm. We agreed. But we can go one step further and charge the crystal using the power of the moon.
I'm sorry.
This is also part of the cleaning process to help shed the negative energy and build up any positive ions that you are going to be in close contact with literally all over your face. That's what it writes. Literally all over your face. Please do not please do not rely on the moon to clean your crystal roller. That's it. Have fun. Bake it under the moonlight, no problem.
I just feel like Liam Rhymes was before her time. Who knew the moonlight can function in multiple ways?
Oh man, that's great. That's great. All right, last one. Brushing your teeth with charcoal will not only make your pearly whites glow, but also purify your mouth from the day's cursing. This is probably what Gloria and I both need.
Shit.
Charcoal removes toxins both physically and energetically, and has been believed to be the case for thousands of years. We can adopt it as part of our routines and wash our mouths out, both metaphorically and literally.
This is really good. Who wrote this?
So, anyways, I learned some things.
Sometimes I feel like when they say things like, "Oh, like get rid of negative energy," I'm like, are you talking about me? Like, is this the negativity that you're referring to?
This article is speaking to me. It knows me.
Gloria, take that charcoal and wash your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anyways, that was fun. Next thing, last bit of news. I'm sure all of you guys are feeling the pains of inflation.
Yeah.
We did want to share some recent news articles that have come out talking about price increases in some of our raw materials. I'm very sad about this, but I'm going to share this with Gloria because it also affects us too. Mm-hmm. So the first one is Wacker Silicones. They are actually a huge silicone company. They will be increasing prices on their products by an average of 30% or more. Horrible. And that's actually kind of scary for makeup, for sunscreen. Certain skincare products do use it for its great texture and mattifying capabilities. It's incredibly expensive.
I also want to add that it's extra detrimental for small brands. So if you have a small brand that you believe in, or otherwise, definitely go support them. It's the reality is in market talk, when these type of things happen, bigger brands have bargaining power in talking down the price as much as possible, whereas small brands often they don't have that power, and it is what it is. Yeah,
so that is pretty painful. Another company, a massive company, BASF, has also mentioned that they will have to increase the price of their ingredients as well, and it's a huge range. Involves fatty alcohols, which can be your light emollients. It can be stabilizers, surfactants. You've got pegylated ingredients. So it's a huge range, and we did discover that it also involves a couple of our ingredients that we use as well. So,
hey. So, no, well, we are not increasing our prices.
Yeah.
It is very painful.
Yeah. So, anyways, I did want to share how inflation was infecting. I'm sorry.
It is infecting the world.
Affecting the cosmetic industry. But otherwise, that's it. That's the
ending
news.
on a positive note. I like it. I shall go stand under the moon tonight and cleanse my aura.
And just like chomp on a rock of charcoal.
Moving on to the meat. All right. Today we're gonna be hopefully interesting news bearers.
Yes.
It's all about eye area concerns. To jump in, we always like to start with the biology.
Yes.
Eye area concerns can be roughly divided into two big areas. I know there's a lot of nuances to it, but one is wrinkles and two is your dark circles.
There's a third category that's eye bags, but it can get a little complicated and can involve both dark circles and wrinkles. And the other thing is that one's a much more difficult problem because it can also really involve your bone structure. So
Yep.
we're just not going to get into that one.
We're
but
not gonna
for
touch
now,
it.
these two. Yeah.
Yep. So wrinkles, as far as eye area concern goes, it's almost a simpler problem to solve because at the end of the day, wrinkles are wrinkles. What works for your facial wrinkles and other places will work for your eye wrinkles. Well, as we talked about when we talked about double play, it's just as long as the product is safe for eye area use and not too irritating, the same good ingredients still apply here.
Right.
Ooh, dark circles. Dark circles, as you probably know, there are two main causes. There's a lot of underlying sub causes to dark circles.
Genes also play a factor.
Genes is actually a very big factor. So unfortunately, it is the genetic lottery if you have really bad dark circles. But the main causes are hyperpigmentation, and also it's a vascular issue. So when your skin is thinning and you have deoxygenated blood coming through here, it kind of shows up as a dark circle. I did find a very interesting stat where I'm sure a lot of people will ask, like, oh, like, then which type of dark circle do I have? Do I have the pigmentation type? Do I have the blood, the vascular type? The reality is most of you have both. Yay!
Of course. Of course.
Yep. So what's interesting, this is maybe a little nerdy talk, is I found a paper that talked about looking at dark circles under what's called Wood's lamp, which is essentially a black light. Yeah. Anyway, under the Wood's lamp, your melanin base, the hyperpigmentation portion of it, will really show up, whereas it doesn't really show up for the vascular component.
That's
so
very cool.
That's how they kind of analyzed it. Like, look at 100 women. I believe this is a Brazilian study, and found that 35% of the female have the vascular type, just the vascular type, and then but 54% of the women have the mixed type. Very, 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 very few women out there have the just hyperpigmentation type. Find that really interesting.
Cool.
Can kind of think about it when you strategize what ingredients you need to tackle the type of dark circle.
Awesome.
I also really want to add that dark circle is exacerbated. It's not your imagination. It's definitely exacerbated by
Sleep?
Actually, interesting, they claim that it's not really as affected by sleep as people
No sleep
think.
for me then.
Well then.
I only sleep for my dark circle. No, I'm kidding.
They say allergies is a huge one.
Yep.
Skin sensitivity, contact dermatitis, and like continued allergy play a huge role in that showing up more.
I do have some gnarly allergies.
Yep. And the other, and another factor that contributes to it is structure. And there isn't a lot. This is very genetic, like your face shape, the way you age, your bone structure, it all plays a role. It itself doesn't cause dark circles, obviously, but it affects how it shows up on your face.
For sure. And I was going to ask, the one I'm aware of is the hollowing effect, which it kind of looks a little sunken in this tear trough area. Is there also, and I know like the puffiness, there is a surgery that's done to remove the fat deposit here. Are those the two main like structures that typically occur that can contribute to that? Okay.
Yes. So, and with structural issues, we're also not going to touch on as much. A lot of times in-office treatment is the best way to go about it, especially in severe cases. So we're going to move on from structure.
Got it. But no, that's really fascinating. And I think that being able to track and also understanding that it's not just a surface pigmentation issue, like it's both vascular and pigmentation.
Yeah, and I just have to say these these under eye dark circles, they look terrifying in studies. When I was doing my homework and just kind of putting the meat together for this episode, we ran across some terrifying pictures
We'll share them here.
The nightmare shall not be ours alone. The thing is that when they do studies, they have to blind people's eyes. And the most typical ones, they have a bar across the eye area.
Looks like they all are doing time.
Yep. But because we're looking at specifically the eye area, the little blackout bar has to be smaller, and they look terrifying. Looks like something out of a Stephen King novel.
It's true. I'm looking at it right now.
Yep. So anyway, we're gonna talk about what really works. But before we get into it, I do wanna we wanna remind everyone that, like hyperpigmentation, it's not you. It's not your imagination. It is a really difficult problem to solve and to get to a point you feel like you're really tackling your eye area concerns.
Yeah, they Gloria found this really great study that tested, it was actually a retinol treatment on eye. They didn't really disclose the amount of retinol used, but the general conclusion, it's not great. The general conclusion is the test lotion is well tolerated and can be considered a suitable treatment for wrinkles around the eye area, which sounds very vanilla. And then there's this, to make it even worse, there's the stat that they use is that 34% of subjects showed marked or moderate improvement. And
that's not great.
It doesn't sound great, but to be honest, that is the reality of eye creams. Because it's complex, because a lot of factors are involved, because there's a lot of things going on. It's both pigmentation and vascular and thinner skin. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what I guess eye creams and formulations have to battle with in order to tackle and get results around this area. And that's specifically for dark circles. I think the other thing is, like, with wrinkles, we generally feel that there's actually better hope with crow's feet. So there's a lot of studies that focus on anti-wrinkle improvements. So we feel like dark circles is a much more complex issue to tackle. But yeah. Anyways, let's get back into eye creams.
Yay! So, when we started putting this bean together, we went on a journey of finding out, at the end of the day, what works. So while we're doing research, I use keywords like double-blind, placebo-controlled, crow's feet, dark circle, to kind of see not just the BS papers, because there's a lot of those out there, just kind of trying to filter out like what really works. And there is a lot of weird crap out there that's been tested on eye hair.
For sure. I think first things first, there is actually a paper testing on a copper pillowcase.
Yeah, so fancy pillowcases, I think,
there's been
years ago?
Silk,
yeah.
There's been silver, and there's also copper.
Yep. So this one, they made these people sleep on these pillows for 4 weeks on a copper oxide containing pillowcase. And they claimed that this pillowcase caused a significant reduction in the appearance of facial wrinkles and crow's feet, yada, yada, yada. Looking at the picture, though, the two of us were like, I don't know what's great, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah. And in terms of the results, testing on the copper pillow versus the control pillowcase, you see that it's actually not that different. We'll show the results here. And basically it just makes us raise our eyebrows a little. And ultimately my takeaway was that if you get consistent night's sleep, that is what helps overall skin improvement.
Yep, your quality of life definitely matters here. And I really want to point out that this episode hopefully wouldn't be one of our longer episodes, but it took a really long time to put together because there's so much BS fluff in this category that you can't just read the conclusion and take it for what it is. Like, we had to read these full papers, like all, and not to mention all the papers we throw out because like the data was unhelpful or garbage. So,
and speaking of, let's talk about this microneedle patch article.
Oh man! So I also found one where they loaded microneedle patches with ascorbic acid. I don't know how much ascorbic acid is in this, but I will argue, I don't know if it's, I mean, maybe it's helpful to know, but at the same time, because the delivery system is different than, say, ascorbic acid serum, it's hard for us to judge based on percentages anyway.
Yep. So the test is placebo controlled. It's got 51 subjects. They have to use a microneedle patch around this area once every 4 days. And Gloria shared this paper with me, and I have to say the before and after pictures also make us do.
I think this side's better.
Results here.
Yeah, results here. We're like, ooh. The conclusion was also, this was very helpful for eye area wrinkles.
Yeah. So, all right. So enough of that. There's a lot. And there's a lot of wild things that have been tested for the eye area. But let's talk about a couple of things that actually do work.
Yep. A very classic ingredient that work is retinol. Retinol has been tested time and time again in various studies. Now, there are a lot of studies with retinol that doesn't test specifically for the eye area, but they make formulas that they apply to the full face, including the eye area. And the researchers will notice improvement in crow's feet and wrinkles and hyperpigmentation as well. So kind of help reduce dark circle. So yeah, it's been tested to work at as low as 0.1%, which is a pretty solid starting point. Let's say if you are on a face cream, a face retinol at 0.1%, you can try to inch it closer to the eye, depending on whether or not it's tested for the eye area. So that's one. Two, I was a little surprised about is hydroquinone. Actually, I wasn't super surprised, but it's also...
It sounds intense
to
put it so close to the eye area. But yeah, it's actually gold standard for the eye area as well. That does get prescribed.
And three, which I'm terrified of, and this one I wouldn't recommend trying at home, is chemical peels. So if you have an HA toner, if you use any of our acid line and you're like, oh, I heard it works on eye area, I wouldn't really recommend doing that in an uncontrolled environment at home.
Totally agree. And we've actually had gotten a couple questions about using our specialist under the eye area. And she's like, I would like to put Vaseline over to really seal it in and penetrate. And I'm like, I understand this sentiment, but I do not want you to do this.
Yeah, that one wasn't tested for the eye area, really gives us hives. So
Yeah. So
and the next category is peptides.
Yes.
Peptides, now there are a lot of interesting studies out there. I found a paper on a pentapeptide. It's a 12-week, 93 people large study using just 3 parts per million of this palmitoyl pentapeptide 4. And it found significant results for fine lines and wrinkles. Post the result here. It really does look very promising. Now, the problem with peptides is it's a vast world.
Let's just say the amount of work that it takes for us to research, and for those that have been following us for a while, you notice we don't talk about peptides very much. That's how much research we have to do just to get that single, result or finding that we can share. It's just because a lot of it's proprietary. It's very cool that you can actually synthesize all sorts of combinations to make a peptide. You can make just hundreds of thousands of combos. Yeah. But to actually find one that works, very few chances. And then you have to do even more work to validate that it actually does work. And
for you guys on the consumer side, you can't decipher that, right? So you might take away and be like, okay, I heard pentapeptide work. So in this paper, they outlined the actual sequence of this pentapeptide. I forgot where it is, but it's here. It's here. But the reality is, if you look at the package, you're like, pentapeptide? Now pentapeptides are the same. So you may not be getting the same peptide as the one that's described in the study here. So the best bet we have but on the flip side, peptides is very interesting for dark circles. There are a lot of interesting supplier data that targets both vascular dark circle as well as hyperpigmentation. Yes. So we say it's almost that juicy, tempting, dangling fruit, but you don't know what you're getting until you take a bite.
I was going to say that I find that comforting, and I think everyone should find that comforting, that when it comes to dark circles, suppliers are looking at the vascular angle. I will tell you now that a brand will never claim that it tackles the vascular part, because then you're really starting to get into some awkward drug claims, and you got to skirt around some of those issues. But it does give us hope that they are looking at it from multiple angles and not just from a hyperpigmentation angle.
Yeah, so our recommendation when you look for peptides is go for either products, the cop-out is always go for products that have clinical tests, And then 2 is look for products that tell you what the trademark name is for that peptide blend, so you know what you're getting. The one we chose to use in our double play is Haloxyl, made by Sederma. They also have other eye area targeting peptides such as eyeless, and a few others. Now, if they don't tell you which proprietary blend or trademark name they're using, and you send us the IL, we probably will struggle telling you what's in it and whether or not it works.
We will tell you that we can't tell you much, and we will ask if they have a clinical, and that's all we can do. That's all we can speak on. So, yeah. All right. What else do we got? We got another study on a retinol blend, a 0.1% retinol blend with 3% MAP and a 0.5% vitamin E that was used over an 8-week period. They did find that it did help with decreasing hyperpigmentation, but
did jack shit for your vascular dark circle.
There you go.
And just remember the stat where half of the incidence of dark circle out there, roughly half, is a combination of hyperpigmentation, dark circle. So again, your product may be working, but because it's working at a more narrow scope, it's harder for you to see results. In this study, the retinol, the vitamin C, and the E, it's all mostly targeting hyperpigmentation. So you're gonna see some residual dark circle concerns from other causes. For sure. And
question.
Yes.
As someone who really cares about this aspect and skin concern, anything new on caffeine?
So, because we're talking about eye area concerns, we have to do a deep dive on caffeine. And I'll be honest, before we research caffeine, just making sure there isn't any new studies out there that we may have missed, I've always been in the camp of caffeine is full of shit.
Yes. So the reason why I asked this is because caffeine has always been that thing that people believe that if I use a caffeine product, like that's all I need in dark circles. And the general theory is that it's a very temporary effect. You must keep using it to see any sort of efficacy. Otherwise, it's going to do nothing. But I will say that I have also gone down this rabbit hole and have found that, honestly, it really just doesn't do anything. And it's really inconclusive on whether it's even useful.
Yeah, so first of all, a lot of the general consensus based on some studies is that you need at least 3% caffeine, which in a lot of products, like caffeine gels, eye gels you see out there, you're not going to get that percentage. True. So already you're now off to a great start. Then I found this interesting Thai study because there's a perception that caffeine reduces puffiness. So they made a gel and they iced it and they did a placebo without caffeine and turned out like the cooling gel they put in the fridge. So applying a cool gel does as much as a cool gel with caffeine. So it doesn't do anything. And then my favorite study that I found in this journey is there's a Japanese study. It's an oral ingestion of caffeine. So they give study subjects 100 milligram supplement of caffeine, and they studied the blood flow to your eye area, on your eyelid, and found that it is vasoconstricting, so it does restrict blood flow to this general area, which can contribute to like reduce the look of dark circles in general. I would like to add that out of curiosity at Google, I was like, I don't have a good off the top of my head, I'm not sure what 100 milligrams really mean, and I looked it up. It's about a cup of coffee.
Excellent. I will continue the same to stay the course.
So grab your morning Joe and just say whatever to topical caffeine products.
Nice.
I did find one more interesting study, and I will say some of the most interesting caffeine topical studies using in combination with other actives. So what does caffeine really add here? This one does use it in combination with vitamin K.
That's another one that's kind of trendy. I think there's actually a couple papers that have tested vitamin K too, right?
Yep.
Usually also in blend.
Yeah, usually in blends. And
kind of like inconclusive.
Yeah, in this specific paper, they use 2% vitamin K in combination with the 3% caffeine. And there's a few products here that have this combo. Just know that this is because of this paper, partially vitamin K is trendy. I haven't seen a lot of products that have it at near the 2%. So.
Yes, agreed. Cool. Awesome. Next.
So that was a lot of data. So we figured we should just walk through some general shopping tips on eye products.
I think the main category is retinol eye cream.
Yes.
The main difficulty with eye creams that you'll soon discover as we go through these is that they don't disclose the percentage, which makes it very difficult to really gauge and compare.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for retinol's revival. I will say maybe 2-3 years ago, there are very few retinol eye products out there. Now there's a lot to choose from. Our double play is one of them. Woo. Yep. But the general suggestion is target 0.1% retinol at least. But we have to tell you, when we first started Chemist Confessions, we went out to the world, and we were like, hey guys, pay attention to percentages. It really matters. It's the difference between what works and what doesn't.
That's very true, especially with actives, yes.
And now the industry has taken that and drove it into the ground.
That's true. They took what we said and they dragged it through the mud, and now they ruined it.
Yep. And now you get really confusing crap that it's hard to decipher. For example, Sunday Riley has a new eye cream, and this one I will name because I just find it so absurd. Their new eye cream has a 6% retinoid blend. Whatever does that mean? You know, like so in this product,
an exorbitant amount of any of the retinoids out there.
Yep. So this is a retinol and
shame. Shame.
Yeah. So this product uses a retinol and bakuchiol combo. How much of each of them? I can't tell you. 6% of what? I can't tell you. I don't really know. So again, this is very confusing and not super helpful. And then
I was gonna just add. Some of you might be using retinoids and might be like, well, if that's the case, let me just take my retinoid and start putting it all over my eye. I don't recommend this route either. The reason being is I personally have done this. And sometimes when it is so strong, because it is meant to help, they use all sorts of ways to help better penetrate. And remember, the eye area is slightly thinner. It will actually can cause irritation underneath your eyelid. Very uncomfortable. It is not a good place to be. You can cause like shedding in this area. And so I do want to say that is like, yes, like we don't really see the use of an actual eye cream jar, but like to go so aggressive in the other direction, like don't do that. Like learn from me, because that was not fun.
Yep. Make sure you be gentle and go slow.
Yes.
Acclimate your skin. Definitely very important for the eye area. Then you have, as Victoria mentioned, a lot of eye products that doesn't tell you how much is in it. Based on the ingredient list, it doesn't look very high. You have, so for example, Glow Recipes avocado milk claims to be a retinol eye cream. I can't tell how much is in it. May or may not work. Peace Out has a retinol eye stick. Nowadays, it is also very trendy to combine retinol and bakuchiol. We almost went down that road as well. But again, for the eye area, just gently patch test. Give your skin a couple days to tell you what it really thinks about it before you proceed, because we have found that combo to be not as gentle as we thought it would be.
And again, it should be the same as starting any new product, and as starting any new retinol, go slow and low. Yep.
I found this eye product kind of interesting and maybe worthy of a tryout is Dr. Dennis Groth's eye gel.
Okay.
It does use a bakuchiol retinol combo. So here's the aisle. You'll see that it goes water, propylene glycol, ethoxyglycol, bakuchiol retinol. So it didn't tell us the percentage, but it seems fairly high. What's very interesting to us is they had a nifty clinical, and they also say that it's tested to be safe for upper lid use.
So very good.
Very good, very interesting. But based on the aisle, it reads a little aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, the level seems high.
For sure. They also have salicylic acid. They have willow bark extract. I see they have a pigmentation fighter. They even have glycolic acid. I see even a peptide. So they're really just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. So I would probably recommend this for someone who's dabbled in this for a while and is just needs to feel like I gotta step on my game, and then maybe try that angle.
Yeah, interesting list of ingredients. I don't know if it's as gentle as they claim.
Yeah, for sure. So that's retinol. We also have your classic peptide eye creams. You've got strivectin. You've got drunk elephant, shaba, peptide complex. So that's another route. Now, I will say in regards to peptides, a lot of people, I think when Gloria ran the eye cream poll, one of the main questions was about milia. And if you don't know what milia is, it's these...
Lucky you.
Yeah, it's these white bumps that seem to usually form around this area. It's not a pimple, but it's kind of this like almost like buildup. And I would say that in the past, in my work experience, what we've seen is that usually when concentrations of peptide are very high, you can encounter milia cases. So I would say that if you are someone that really struggles with milia, I would say just like be cautious attempting like full-blown peptide routines. Just kind of monitor for that, and also don't pick them. Go see an esthetician to help you with that.
Yeah. So peptides, I would say, again, going back to what we said, is it's kind of hard for us to decipher the merits of each one of them individually, but we would kind of look at them. You have very stubborn dark circles that the other eye cream or retinol is like not really taking care of, just maybe worthy of a try. And then the other category that I see a lot now is vitamin C eye creams. This one I feel like is garbage and a waste of your money. So most of the ones I see on the market, first of all, most of them don't use ascorbic acid, which is fine. Their derivatives are tested as well. But for some reason, vitamin C eye creams haven't hopped on the percentage train, and they usually use a pretty low dose. And the reality is vitamin C, how it works in the eye area, is still a pigment fighter. And or antioxidant, maybe mild like collagen stimulation, but it mostly work on the wrinkle aspect of it and some hyperpigmentation aspect. Which means if you don't have enough of it, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I think like again, when we talked about how suppliers that are purposely looking at dark circles, they're looking at whether or not it can tackle the vascular aspect. I can definitely confidently say that for vitamin C, they are not looking at this specifically for dark circles. They may be looking at it for wrinkles, but not in this aspect. So that's why we feel just very meh about this category.
Yeah. It's kind of like a nice to have, but you have better luck like trying to move your vitamin C serum up here a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And then in terms of products that we really don't care about, again, we already talked about caffeine. Just general like moisturizing, plumping, filling, like those kinds of claims. Unless there's a clinical, we also don't quite care about because at the end of the day, any sort of moisturizing aspect, for sure, your moisturizer itself could do that, no problem. And then finally, is there any other aspect we should think about for eye creams?
There's also a lot of eye creams on the market that claim just moisturizing. For us, it's almost the same trap as your face moisturizer. There's cooling eye gels that claim to be hydrating. There's thicker eye creams. Moisturizing, we're in the camp that we don't find eye creams to be totally necessary. But if you're someone that's shopping for a moisturizing eye cream to really help out your eye area, just know that names such as gel typically don't come with any occlusive. So if your eye area is dry, it may not help that much, or you should use it before your face cream and try to bring your cream over a little bit.
And I did have one more category. This one usually comes with a claim like erases my wrinkles in a minute, 15 minutes, blurs, So there is a type of eye cream out there that is definitely more, I would consider more makeup cosmetic.
Almost makeup,
And what they do is you can create films that kind of pull skin taut and it can mattify and it can almost blur the aspect of, you know, your general eye area concerns around here. All nice and all, but I think it's more just manage expectations in this. This is more, could be great under makeup for going out, but in terms of long-term benefits, we definitely don't see that as like a true skincare long-term care product. So just want everyone to like go in with the right expectations when they do trial those products. Some films do pretty well. Some films pull skin kind of in a weird way, and it almost creates wrinkles in different areas. So it's like, you know, you really gotta like dabble in it to find the right one for you.
In our previous life as corporate chemists, we have seen those projects, and Victor is not kidding when he says when it's formulated and how you apply is very important. So sometimes when you test it, you're like, oh, okay, this wrinkle is gone. Oh no, there's 8 more here.
Not speaking from personal experience at all.
No, not at all. The way it dressed, like
yeah. So anyways, and final thoughts.
Closing words is, if you're having a lot of trouble with eye area concern, know that a lot of data goes to in-office help.
Yeah.
So if you have wrinkle concern, Botox has been tested at multiple different dosage, different ways of injecting what Botox works. Yeah. There are fillers. There are also vampire facial has been shown to help with eye area concerns as well. Lasers is a thing. There's like also different types of lasers you can use to either target pigmentation and whatnot. And also there is this thing called nano fat grafting. Again, just something if you want to go down that route, especially if you have structurally caused eye area concerns, this might be the most effective way is consult your derm and talk about which procedure might be right for you.
Definitely. I think it's, you know, if you've invested enough time and money into it, it might just be worth it to actually get it done in office, for sure.
Lamere Eyecreams can get you an in-office session. So
yeah, it can get you a laser treatment. I was going to say, like, if you're just tired of the dark circle aspect, usually laser is one of the first things that you can trial. So yeah, definitely. Go for it. All right. That's
it. That's the me. Hopefully,
Eyecreams.
Great.
Hopefully, we painted you a better picture of the eye cream landscape. And if you have any questions, let us know. But otherwise, it is time to
break it up. Biggest sell of the year. The Animal Fun Fact Corner. Oh, it's Friday night.
I don't even know how to respond, man.
Break it up. Break it up. Woo!
Excellent. Today it is my turn to do Animal Corner, and today we are actually talking about. Maisie is so concerned about Gloria that she had to come over from her nap and check up on her.
Hi, Maisie.
Yeah. But yeah, it is my turn to talk about an animal, and today it is about the zebra finch. All right, so the zebra finch is a colorful bird that's mainly found in Australia. On average, they can live as long as 12 years, but when caged, they actually only live from 5 to 9. It's quite sad. So the cool thing is the males, they can sing, and the females can't. And they're actually a very complex, pretty well-studied bird. There's the way that they develop their song has been well-studied. They actually practice as a young age.
Adorable. They go to singing practice.
Yep. The father will teach the son. The son starts with a song, and then they practice it, and the reverberation they'll start like fine tuning their song.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, really interesting. And also because of, all the development and urban development, they found that, if they live close to traffic, that can actually delay their development because they're relying on the reverb.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. But anyways, we're actually not here to talk about their song development. We're here to talk about zebra finch breeding. There's a lot going on, so I'm going to try to keep it short. The first thing is that they're actually socially monogamous. But sometimes they participate in extra pair copulation that's often led by the females. Yeah, So even though they're supposed to have lifelong partners, the females sometimes the eyes wander. The cool thing is that they also have trees that are meant for courting, and they have trees that are meant for socializing.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, so it's like a complex...
separating party and home.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I was thinking, like, it'd be so funny if, like, you know, these couples, they're like, I saw you at the courting tree.
Why were you at the courting tree?
Why were you there?
Oh, that's not me. That's John. you got the wrong bird.
Yeah.
Wrong Finch, bitch.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's quite complex. And probably the thing that really, like, made my head turn was, the title is Beefing Up Eggs Against Ugliness.
Excuse me?
And so apparently what happens is sometimes if the female feels like their male partner is ugly, they're going to do what they can to help their offspring. Mm-hmm. And so there's this, let me read you this excerpt. It says, if your dad is ugly, chicks with ugly fathers not only lose out on superior genes, but their deadbeat dads also tend to bring less food to the nest than attractive fathers do.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, that's horrible. And it says a new study of house finches, however, shows that these apparently unlucky chicks may be better off than they thought. Their mothers endow their eggs with extra hormones and vitamins, counteracting their dad's deficiencies. And they see this in zebra finches where females will lay their eggs and and they will excrete like kind of a more bitter concoction that has like more nutrients to give to their eggs that they feel like their partners are just like not up to snuff.
Oh man.
So
I'm sorry, man. I was drunk. I just didn't. I mean, and then the daylight came and I got a good look at him. Sorry.
Oh my god. And then scientists think that this is one way that females increase their young ones' chances of survival and ensure that mom's genes are perpetuated through the next generation.
That's messed up.
And I'm like, dude, like, imagine the dad like realizing that the egg has been given these extra nutrients. Like, how heartbreaking is that as a dad? I'm like,
so you thought my sperm wasn't good enough?
Yeah, you're like, you're saying I'm ugly?
You're saying I'm a 2 out of 10?
You're saying I'm a deadbeat? I'm not good enough as a dad? I'm so horrible.
So what classifies as an ugly finch?
Yeah, so it depends on like their beak color, their feathering, their patterns. Like they we'll include a picture here of what a zebra finch looks like, but all of that patterning does matter, and that's how they evaluate their partner as beautiful or not.
Superficial birds.
It's brutal out there, guys. Dating is brutal.
I don't know why this reminded me of it, but I always find like judging beauty in the animal world really interesting. But I always find it even weirder when humans try to like put their values onto the animal world. For example, I don't know if we talked about it here, but apparently there's totally a camel beauty pageant.
Excuse me?
No, I should you know. There's a
Well, I
camel.
guess we know what our fun fact will be next week.
Yes, well, to go more into the camel world, but yeah, it's like I always find it so weird. It's like what counts as beautiful in other species? Like, oh yeah, girl, your hump is ridiculous.
Yeah, like the girl's like, damn, that beak is on fire.
Yeah. Oh my god, the beak is so straight.
That plumage is hot. Nice.
But that's gotta be the meanest article.
Brutal. It's brutal. You think so? For those of you that are out there dating post-COVID, just know that zebra finches got a work.
No chill, man.
They're brutal, man.
Thank God they don't have Instagram. Yo, you gotta see Johnny's Instagram. Yeah, that dude's ugly.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's the animal corner for today.
Yay!
All right, let's
Nature's
wrap this
battle.
up.
All right,
let's do it. All right, first question. What is the difference between mixing a drop of your specialist mask with 18% mandelic acid and 2% salicylic acid in your moisturizer every day versus using all over face as a mask once per week versus using 5 to 10% mandelic acid or 2% SA serum all over the face every day?
woo.
There's a lot going on here.
Loaded question, and it almost mirrors question from the last episode, which is the difference between using a lower concentration daily versus less frequent but high dose. When it comes to acid, it makes a big difference on the results you'll get. When you saturate your skin's pathway with high levels of acid, it's just a more thorough job in exfoliation.
For sure.
Problem is it could lead to more irritation. That's why you don't do it all the time.
Yes.
So Maisie is grunting for us to get off the phone. So we'll do this quickly. So lower doses daily for us is more like maintenance. Let's say you're using a 10% glycolic serum, or even lower. Nowadays you can get 5% glycolic acid. We wouldn't expect anything like shockingly visible changes to your face. You might have a generally healthier skin barrier, more even skin texture and whatnot. But if you use a 30% mask, or in this case 18% mask, it will get you that extra lagging efficacy.
Yeah, and what she means by that is you're talking about now about actual hyperpigmentation, wrinkles. So maybe a more serious concern. So I think that's a really great point to highlight, daily care versus an intense, almost peel-like level of care, that difference. I think what a lot of users don't realize is that if I use this ingredient, like, I should get all these benefits.
Right.
But that's actually not how that works. Again, we always talk about concentration, frequency. All of those things can matter in terms of getting, like, let's say just glow hydration versus, wrinkle pigmentation.
And I think a really good ingredient to highlight that is lactic acid.
Yeah.
At 2% and under, it's actually just a hydrating ingredient.
Yes.
It's most likely not going to irritate you, and it acts as an NMF. But when you get to 8%, you're getting a little warmer, getting a little bit more efficacy. At high levels, like 30, or in office, you can get up to, say, 50, 60. Then it can act as a peel. Yeah. So that's the main difference.
Awesome. It's actually a great question. Second question. This one is kind of in the same realm. They ask, could I dilute a 20% vitamin C serum when I apply to get it closer to 10 to 15%? That's fine, but then also just actually that's fine.
Yeah, generally speaking, it's fine depending on the vitamin C serum type. I'm just assuming that's a water-based serum.
I was thinking the 20% ascorbic acid serum, and I actually think that's actually a great way, because sometimes you can't always find a 5 to 10% serum that works for you.
Yeah, and to the theme of this episode, you might want to do that. Mix it thoroughly in your hand with other water-based products if you want to get it closer to the eye area, just because your eye might not need that much. I would say other formats of vitamin C, like the paste stuff, is a little harder because it doesn't mix well with other products. So
I was gonna I think that's what what's the word, choked me up a little bit, was also thinking about all the vitamin C derivatives. There's a lot of papers that do require it to be slightly higher to get those benefits. So I think the question would be which derivative, how much are you diluting? Which
product are you mixing with?
Exactly. And, THD is oil-based, so do think of that when you're diluting. If you're going to try to dilute it in a serum, that might not go so nicely. So, yeah, just some things to think about as you are mixing.
And scene. Okay, it's a Friday night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Check out Double Play messages if you have any questions.
Please let us know. It is our baby. We've worked on it for so long. Really just can't believe that it's finally real. And you know where to find us, right, Gloria?
Yeah. Visit us at chemistconfessions.com. You can write to us at info@chemistconfessions.com. You can also DM us on Instagram, chemist.confessions. We try to get to everyone. Sometimes it might take a while. That's it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode. We'll see you guys